I've also been a student of some of the world's most admired companies, and this is just a handful of the companies I've been able to engage over the years. And I will tell you, every single one of them, and for those of you who are in the consulting and services business, every single one of them is in need of advice right now, because they're all coping with extraordinary change, from the inside of their organizations to the outside. Technology is a big part of it, but it's also what it means to operate effectively in the world today. I love this piece. I don't know if any of you saw this. This was an article that A.G. Lafley wrote in the Harvard Business Review a number of years ago about what only the CEO can do. And increasingly now, I really do think there is a new job description for the CEO. Lafley talked about bringing the meaningful outside in. How do you really see what's going on in the world ahead of your customers, ahead of your own people, so that you can bring the necessary context? What business are you in? It's amazing to me how many clients I go to and see every day, and we have this debate. Because a lot of what is happening in the worlds that you are dealing with around technology, around new capabilities, around new partnerships, is about getting a really crisp answer to what business you're all about. Getting the present and future in the right mix and the right balance is critical, and obviously shaping values and standards, which I would argue is the most important thing now for reasons I'll share in a moment. I've also gotten to learn a lot about culture. And the fact is, change happens if the culture is ready for change, and if the culture isn't ready for change, then you have to do a whole lot of work to help get it right. And this is something, I'm sure many of you have been in the same meetings I have been. We are going to get this done in 100 days. We're absolutely committed. We got to save the money. We've got to do this. And then there are 100 reasons why it doesn't happen. And a lot of it is just because of the sheer either insensitivity or stupidity around not understanding the cultural dynamics that go into how organizations work, how they change, how they shift. It's amazing. I've been doing work with financial service companies who are now under this intense scrutiny from the Federal Reserve and regulators. And do you want to know what is the #1 issue that most of those folks have when it comes to evaluating these companies in terms of their readiness for the future? Culture. They think their cultures are broken. And they think a huge part of the financial crisis is around cultural failure. Not necessarily greed, not necessarily a CEO run amok, but a kind of cultural, institutional set of beliefs and biases that in some way corrupted the firm to not serve the greater good. Have any of you heard of Simon Sinek? So if you go to the TED Talks website, you can see this short video from Simon Sinek, what's called How Great Leaders Inspire Action. He talks about the why factor. He said, most clients define their business in terms of what they do, not very distinctive, or how they do it. Maybe there's some distinctiveness there. What really defines companies today is the why do they do it? Why does it matter? And he profiles Apple as a company from the Wright brothers and others as a kind of guide to how critical it is to define your why. All of our clients want to be loved and admired. The Fortune most admired list is something that virtually all clients of Ogilvy and Mather want to be as high up on that list as possible. Nothing exclusive to Fortune. Everyone's got a most admired list these days. But the fact is that whole external recognition that you're great, you're doing the right things, you're growing, you're part of the future is a big part of what I deal with every day. And the reality is how you get there is now, shifted so significantly. I grew up, most of my career at Ogilvy over 35 years was on the bottom 2 rungs. You built brand image by having great products, right? Having things that were completely distinctive and differentiated in the marketplace. And you may have built a corporate culture, right? A company that reliably hired great people or consistently delivered great products and services. And then those cultures, sometimes they got to the next level of branding those cultures, where they had a vision, a set of values, a core set of beliefs that really defined them. I'm going to talk a little bit about IBM in a moment. Here is a company that today, despite being in one of the fastest changing environments you can possibly imagine, still goes back to its core beliefs, its roots of why it existed for years and years and years as a basis for thinking about the future. But the real nirvana, where greatness is now really defined, is can you define a point of view of leadership that is ultimately about building your brand in a social context, in a cultural context around society.